There's a word that can enter a room before you do. A word that people don't always say to your face, but you can hear it anyway. In laughter, in advice, in silence. Fat. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of us don't hate the word. We hate what the world has taught us it means. I think people knew I was fat before I did myself. Not because I couldn't see myself, but because no one ever let me forget it. Not directly. That would have been easier. It was in the way they looked at me and then looked away. The way they gave me advice I didn't ask for. The way my body was always a topic, even when I wasn't in the room. Hi guys, this is the Fat Girl Diary. Now I didn't pick this name because it sounds nice. It doesn't. It's uncomfortable. It makes people pause. Some people will probably hate it. But the truth is, I didn't choose it for them. I chose it because, for the first time in my life, I'm not trying to hide from the word anymore. There's something strange about the word fat. People will say everything around it, but not it. She's healthy, but she just needs to be a little more careful. Oh, she has such a pretty face, but she'd look amazing if she just what, dude? Shrinks, disappears a little, becomes easier to look at. Say it. Say the word. Have the guts and say the word fat. Because the truth is, they were never trying to protect me from the word. They were trying to protect themselves from saying it aloud. Now, I don't remember when fat stopped being something I had and became something I was. Not who I am. Not funny, not smart. Just the fat girl. And you know what, guys? What's scary? It doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens slowly. In jokes you laugh at even when they hurt. In pictures you delete before anyone else sees them. In clothes you don't even try because you already know the answer. And one day, you don't need anyone else to remind you anymore. Why? Because you end up doing it yourself. Like I'm a project, a before picture, waiting for its after. I avoided mirrors for a long time. Not completely, just strategically. I'd look at my face, maybe from certain angles, but never the whole picture. Because the whole picture felt, overwhelming, like seeing something I wasn't ready to accept. And then there are those mirrors you can't just avoid, no matter what. Trial rooms, bright lights, no escape whatsoever. I remember standing in one of those trial rooms, pulling a fabric that refused to cooperate. I turned sideways, I turned back, I held my breath, like it would change something, and then just standing still. Because no matter what angle I chose, I couldn't edit myself in real life. It's very funny. Photos have filters, but mind you, mirrors don't. And then came that moment. A voice said, "Ma'am, we don't have your size." It wasn't loud. It wasn't rude. It was just the final word. And I think that's what hurt the most. Not the words, but how normal they sounded. Like it wasn't even a big deal. But how do I tell that lady that it was a big deal? To me, it was everything. And guys, no one talks about this part. The part where you go home and nothing dramatic happens. There is no breakdown. There are no tears. You're just quiet. You're just towards yourself. And in that quiet, you start thinking things you'd never say out aloud. Like maybe they're right. Maybe I should try harder. Maybe this is why. Why what? Why people don't stay? Why they don't look at you twice? Why do you feel so less? And the worst part? You start believing it. It's funny because the world really doesn't need to break you. It just needs to repeat something until you believe it. I think the word itself isn't what hurts. It's everything that's attached to it. Lazy, undisciplined, unattractive, less. And the scary part is, no one has to say all of that. You know why? Because you already know it somewhere deep inside. So, why call this the Fat Girl Diary? Why not something softer, something more acceptable? Because I've spent years trying to be acceptable. But it didn't make me feel better. It just made me feel quieter, smaller from within, easier for other people to digest. And I don't want to be digestible anymore. I want to be honest, even if it's uncomfortable. So let me be clear about something. This is not a self-love podcast. No. Psst. Because I don't wake up every day loving myself. Some days I still struggle to look at myself. Some days I feel confident. Most days, I'm somewhere in between. And I think that's more honest than pretending I've figured it all out. Healing doesn't always look like confidence. Sometimes it looks like honesty. And this is also not a transformation story either. So guys, there's no after waiting at the end of this, no big reveal, no final version of me. Just this. If you're listening to this, I need you to ask yourself something. How much of what you feel about your body is actually yours? And how much of it was taught to you? Because I've been thinking about this a lot. And honestly, I don't like the answer. This podcast is not me fixing myself. It's me understanding myself. One story at a time. One uncomfortable truth at a time. So in the next episode, I'm going to talk about the very first time someone called me fat in public and actually meant it. Because we don't just remember the word, we remember the moment we started seeing ourselves differently. If this felt personal, it's because it is. And if you've ever felt this way, believe me guys, you're not the only one.